My name is Angela, and I'm 45 years old. About 15 years ago, there was an actor who pledged a future with me. Well, as you may have guessed, I had a fiancé, but that was in the past. Today, I would like to tell you what happened to me at that time. The actor's name was Isaac. We were the same age and were introduced through a mutual acquaintance. Well, we met at what you might call a mixer. As I entered my 30s, most people around me were getting married and I began to get impatient. But I'm not very good at talking to men, and it always ends in a dud. When I thought it might be time to retire from mixers, I met Isaac. I kept it a secret from him that I felt a bit faithful about it, especially since I was on the verge of giving up. Isaac told me,
I had already decided that my next partner would be someone I could see myself marrying.
And so we started dating with marriage in mind. He promptly introduced me to his parents, and I especially became very close with my mother-in-law. For me, growing up in the countryside and not being as sparkly as city people was a complex, but my mother-in-law praised me for it. Being a good home cook and having no piercings or nail art were also high points for my mother-in-law, who also grew up in the country. When we went to formally announce our engagement after 1 year of dating, my parents-in-law were so overjoyed that they cried. I was also excited about fulfilling my mother's wish, who said she was looking forward to grandchildren. But this engagement will become a turning point in my life. It was when we finished greeting his parents and were going to discuss venues and future plans. Isaac asked me to wait a little longer before getting married. At that time, he had been going on sudden business trips frequently. Because he hadn't yet told his company about our engagement, the possibility of relocation was also looming. With things as they were, it was difficult to make various plans, like visiting venues, and the future looked uncertain. So he asked me to wait a little from this point onward. I was a bit bewildered at first, but since his reasons were sound, I readily agreed to his proposal. I thought the situation would change in about 6 months at most, and since we were already engaged, I didn't feel the need to rush. But I never imagined I would be made to wait even longer after this. My sympathetic mother-in-law often encouraged Isaac, saying, "Don't keep her waiting too long." I also started to worry about the risks of getting pregnant as I gradually got older, so I was grateful for my mother-in-law's advice. Since it was due to his job, I felt a bit hesitant to bring it up myself. My mother-in-law even suggested we just live together already, but Isaac didn't agree. He said his irregular schedule would inconvenience me. Even though I thought we were already committed to marriage, I found myself agreeing with his reasoning. I can't complain if it's consideration towards me. I also didn't want Isaac himself to feel uncomfortable living with me. We both decided it was best for both of us. One day, we were invited by my mother-in-law to lunch at a newly opened, inexpensive Italian restaurant. At that time, I was constantly passing by Isaac and feeling lonely. I think my mother-in-law was trying to distract me from those feelings. My mother-in-law, who had always wanted a daughter, treats me so kindly, like a real mother, that I can't help but feel truly grateful. After we finished lunch and left the restaurant, my mother-in-law suddenly stopped. "Mom?" I glanced in the direction of her gaze. "Don't look, Angela." My mother-in-law stopped me as if startled. "But I'm sorry, it seems it was too late." I saw it. Isaac was interacting with a woman I didn't know, just a little ahead of where my gaze fell. It might have been nothing, perhaps just a scene from a drama. But he didn't notice me and continued to hold the other woman so tightly that such excuses were not acceptable. "Who are you? Who is that person?" My mother-in-law approached the two and pulled the woman's hand. I stood there stunned, lacking the energy to follow my mother-in-law, just staring at the scene. The woman who was pulled away was the complete opposite of me, flashy and loud. Decorated ears with piercings, trendy makeup, perfectly styled curls like from a salon. Even the nail art my mother-in-law disliked was present on her long nails. Honey, who on earth is this person? The woman raised her voice, and Isaac brushed off his mother's hand, telling her to be quiet. Who are you? Explain yourself. My mother-in-law said what I wanted to say. I wanted to say it myself, but I didn't know how to put it into words. Above all, seeing my husband brush off his mother's hand to protect the woman was painful. Is he really cheating? No, I wonder if that girl is serious about him, I vaguely thought.
She's Maddie, my colleague. Stop being rough, Mom.
So you're embracing your colleague? My mother-in-law scolded him in a stern tone.
She's not just a colleague. She's someone important to me.
His words left me speechless. My mother-in-law also exclaimed, Huh? Then what am I? I wondered if I misheard or misunderstood. Perhaps there's another meaning. I've never experienced such confusion in my mind before.
If it's come to this, there's no helping it. Let's go back home and talk things out properly. Sorry, Maddie. Can you leave for today?
Why is the main culprit causing trouble taking charge of the situation? Why is he acting so high and mighty? I thought, but I decided to go along with it. Or rather, I just didn't have the bandwidth to think about anything else at that moment. Everyone except for her gathered at Isaac's house for the time being. According to Isaac, he gradually started interacting with Maddie after the engagement introductions. He thought of her just as a junior colleague, but apparently his feelings got shaken when she suddenly confessed her love to him. He said he knew it was wrong, but things happened in the heat of the moment and they ended up in a relationship. To break up with me after we got engaged. It's not something you do on a whim, based on fleeting emotions. Isaac apparently thought it wouldn't be right to rush into marriage with me while he needed to sort out his feelings. In reality, he confessed without remorse that on most of the days he claimed to be on business trips or without relocation discussions, he was actually meeting with her. I listened to his confession, tears streaming down my face. 2 years in your 30s are significant. It's a crucial time stolen from a woman. I'm disgusted with myself for not realizing. How pathetic is that? Isaac turned to me.
Now that things have come to this, I want to act like a man and take responsibility. I love Maddie. I don't feel anything for you anymore. Being with you feels burdensome. I've come to dislike you. Please cancel the engagement. I want to live with Maddie.
No apology, just the selfish cancellation of our engagement. Why do I have to be told all this when I have no fault in it? I felt despair for falling for such a man. I'm frustrated, sad, and in pain. My mother-in-law kept attacking Isaac as if speaking on my behalf, but all I could do was cry. I don't remember how I managed to get back home after that. It seems my mother-in-law stayed by my side all along and continued to check up on me afterwards. I shed tears every day, but Isaac relentlessly demanded my agreement to cancel the engagement.
There's no use waiting. Hurry up and accept it. Give back the engagement ring.
His words became increasingly harsh. Thanks to that, I was able to realize, I'm glad I didn't marry a man like him. Isaac used to live with his parents, but after that incident, he's been living in hotels, apparently unable to return home due to the commotion. According to my mother-in-law, he won't be allowed back home until things with me are properly settled. She says she couldn't shake off the disgust for her son's infidelity. Isaac seems to be unapologetic, but living in hotels must be costly, and he probably wants to get out of that situation as soon as possible. That's why he keeps contacting me repeatedly to agree to cancel the engagement. But I felt uneasy when I heard this story. Why is he living in a hotel instead of staying at Maddie's house? Isaac was determined to marry her. That's why I was dumped. If I were her, it wouldn't be strange to invite him into the house. My mother-in-law also seemed to have the same question, so we wondered if there was something between them. I've been left with a broken engagement. We have the right to know what's going on between them. We're about to witness a surprising fact. It turns out that Maddie was engaged to another man, and it happened just the other day. They were high school classmates and had been dating for a long time, on the verge of getting married. Honestly, it doesn't look like he's the main focus here at all. So what does that make Isaac? It looks like things are about to get interesting. Revenge surged in my mind. Immediately, my mother-in-law and I ambushed her after work. She seemed to recognize us and tried to escape, but we practically dragged her to a nearby family restaurant.
What's the meaning of this? I'll give him to you.
To the woman raising her voice, I responded. Are you getting married to another man? I asked. She looked at me with a surprised expression. Isaac was just a fling, isn't he? I have the right to know since I'm the one whose engagement got called off. There is no response. If you won't talk, I'll tell everything to your partner. With that, she slammed the desk and yelled,
Stop it! I'll talk. I'll tell you. Wait a minute.
She sighed as if thoroughly disgusted with the situation, reaching for her cigarette. My mother-in-law, looking embarrassed, said,
Please stop smoking.
And she reluctantly put the cigarette back, crossing her arms.
To be clear, that guy is nothing more than a player.
With those words, she began to tell me the whole story. Apparently, the engagement story was a hot topic of conversation at the office because of the ring Isaac wore. At that time, a colleague of hers made a half-joking remark saying, even if you're engaged, cheating would be a mess, right? This apparently led to a bet on whether Isaac would cheat or not. She, who often lost in such childish games, ended up confessing her love to Isaac as a punishment. She thought he would easily refuse since he was engaged. However, to her surprise, Isaac quickly accepted with,
If you're okay with me.
She couldn't bring herself to tell her boss, Isaac, the truth, and ended up gradually entering into a relationship with him. It seems like the photo of them hugging was taken right after she tried to talk about breaking up to end things peacefully. Isaac apparently believes that his engagement is the cause of this.
I have absolutely no interest in plain older men.
Since she said it so bluntly, this outrageous story oddly seemed credible. In fact, when I saw her flashy appearance, I also thought she wasn't the type to match with Isaac.
I apologize for stirring up trouble with that weird game, but that man is the root of all evil in the first place.
When she said that, I couldn't help but agree. Realizing Isaac was isolated, I asked her, I have a favor to ask. I want you to spread that in the company. If you do that, I'll keep it quiet from your fiancé. She hesitated a bit, but then agreed, saying,
It's okay because I'm planning to quit the company after getting married.
Following my instructions, she spread rumors in the company that Isaac was harassing her. A man trying to switch to another woman despite having a fiancé. Such rumors spread within the company, greatly tarnishing Isaac's reputation, as she reported to me. It's been about a month since then. My mother-in-law and I, who had been ignoring Isaac all this time, finally decided to take action to push through the cancellation of the engagement. We contacted him and arranged a meeting with the three of us. My mother-in-law introduced a good lawyer who was planning to get compensation and even damages under the guise of a nuisance fee. But when we got to the meeting place, Isaac suddenly knelt down in front of me.
You're the only one for me. I'm sorry. Please, marry me after all.
At this moment, my mother-in-law and I must have had bewildered expressions. He kept saying nonsensical things like,
If we get married, everything will fall into place.
It must be out of concern for the company's reputation. He probably thinks that if we get married, we can laugh and say, it was just a mistake. Seeing his pitiful half-crying face pleading,
Please.
I deeply feel my own lack of resolve. He is a tiny, miserable man. I'm so glad I never married him. That's why I said it. I hate you. Stop being so clingy. I returned the exact same words I was once told. As he clung to my legs, my mother-in-law said, "I dislike such an embarrassing son," and pushed his hand away from me with her foot. I planned to claim damages, so be prepared. With just that, leaving Isaac crying inconsolably, we departed from the scene. Fast forward 15 years from that abrupt turn of events. Isaac seems to have accumulated debt from paying me alimony and long-term hotel stays. He remains unmarried, reportedly even estranged from his parents. It looks like the company's reputation is still in a bad shape, and now he's been dubbed Moth Bride. Moth. It suggests a scenario where he gathers around young women like moths to a flame, pushing them into marriage. That's practically monstrous. Seems he's stuck with a reputation for harassing subordinates, unable to climb the corporate ladder and leading a cramped office life. It seems like he's been hinting at wanting to resign for a while, but he just couldn't take the plunge due to financial issues. To ruin oneself over just one affair. Serves you right. As for me, I married the lawyer my mother-in-law introduced me to at that time. Since my mother-in-law is a mutual acquaintance, strangely enough, we still keep in touch. Of course, my current husband earns more than Isaac, and I live a comfortable life thanks to him. I did get a hefty sum in compensation, but thanks to my high-earning current husband, the money is still safely stored in my bank account. Back then, I thought I had wasted valuable time, but we were blessed with 2 children. If I had stayed married to Isaac, we probably couldn't have even considered having children while both working. Life is full of ups and downs, but I believe it's about getting up each time you fall. It was a tough period in my life, but I've gained such immense happiness. Thank you for breaking off the engagement. I am truly happy. Once again, serves you right.